they warm up?
They will, that's right, yeah.
One of the players that hasn't playing well despite the past two losses, TJ McConnell. What did you see from TJ in the past two games?
I mean, just some energy, you know, at times when you look at in the light of day, when you study the film against Washington, Atlanta, you know, there was some energy that we didn't have. He provided it, and we need all of that from everybody.
Coach, halfway point of the season just passed. How would you evaluate where your team is?
I think if you looked at our record, that you'd realize that the earth isn't falling, the sky's not falling, and you know, still like we're a ways away from being a fluid sort of whole team. You know, there are issues that you can talk about with the defense. There are issues you can talk about with the depth. You know, there are issues you can talk about coexisting, you know, in our team sort of ecosystem. Those are all true. But it's not anything, in my opinion, that warrants panic. It's part of growing a team. It's part of delivering a team to what matters most is a whole team in April, spiritually and health-wise, and sort of role, all that type of stuff that equals a team. And I think that all those things come to my mind when you talk about a candid assessment of where we are at the halfway point.
And what part are you most satisfied with?
I really couldn't point at anything that I'd say, yep, you know, here we are. And I would tell you if I could, I can't. And it's just part of, I hope, the way I should think. It is certainly the way I talk to the team. And I just think that the good news, it is the most talented team we've ever had since I have been in Philadelphia. That notion, that, in my opinion, fact, is probably, if I had to answer your question, I'd say that.
After going back and looking at the tape, what have you seen defensively? What do you think was going wrong?
I think that there is some communication issues that at times haunt us in transition defense. Some of it are switching schemes in half court. If I were to point to one thing that stands out the most, I think it's that.
When Simmons calls it to you, so you welcome that, you encourage him to speak out like that?
I really leave it alone, Jack. I hear your question, but I leave it alone. The group internally will respond as they respond. He chose that word. It's his right to, you know, comment on how he sees it, and you know, the team will respond as the team responds, but I really don't go there with him, and you know, I have my own assessment of what has been some of our issues over the past few games, especially.
Jimmy's been here for about 2 months. Is he fully up to speed on the whole playbook offensively? Is he fully immersed in everything at this point?
I mean, I think, I'll say it again since we're here in New York. The whole thing was so overblown, in my opinion. Like, as I've said, and I'll say it now since here we are, you know, when you go into a team film and you talk about, like, hey, this is what I see, what do you see?
Yeah.
This is what I think, what do you think? I'm the instigator. And so people say what they say. Then it gets to, like, choice of words, tone of voice, and it's fine. Like, this is why I like coaching. I like the communication, the relationship, and then sometimes there is, like, you know, subtle, respectful confrontation. There is in my home. And so I got no problems with any of it. And I think where the thing pivots is if it's considered, oh, this isn't typical, I don't agree with that. You know, it's happened many times. This is just the first time it's public, and then by my standards, it's just fine. I'm the instigator. And I think where it goes completely north is we should be talking about our defense, and it's spun to our offense. Like, when you just dig into the numbers with him on the floor, we're royalty. We're amongst the elite. And, you know, if what came out of it, and there's way more than that, like, you know, I want to be in more pick and rolls or isolations, there's some of that that's true. And so, like, this part of inheriting a new player, an all-star, him inheriting in us, and you move on. And it was newsworthy for, a few days. Maybe I just gave it more life, probably I did, sorry, but you asked the question, and off we go.
I appreciate you commenting on that, but I was actually asking that I think the first game he came here, you said, he has about 25% of what we do, of our sets and everything. And I was just curious, like, does he now have 100% after being here for 2 months?
No,
I wasn't
because it's
asking
fluid,
specifically
like,
about that.
That's it. He's come into a system. He inherited us, we inherited him, and the system, won a lot of games, as I said in Philadelphia, and I think it still remains true. It was a few games ago, maybe because of the 2 losses we had, this is not true. But as of December the 25th, 2017, the Philadelphia 76ers have the best record in the NBA, not the 3rd or the 5th, best. So we were doing okay. And he inherited that. He inherited that system, and we inherited him. But like anything, coach, player, whatever, you try to cater it to the player's strengths to help him. And some of that system wasn't always great for him, where the game could run around him. It runs around Joel sometimes. And so when you talk about, like, does he know everything now? The answer is things are changing. Like, I'm trying to do my part as the head coach to put him in places that he can do well. And so the system as it existed when you asked that question isn't always the system now, for the reasons I have just said. And somewhere there's probably an answer to your question in that delivery, but that's how I see it and have said it.
I'm sure you didn't expect to play Holden, Korkmaz, Shanek, Milton, much as you had to play them this year. Maybe that pays dividends down the line and make you better for it. As someone you embrace and say, I gotta do what I gotta do here.
Yes, in the notion that is our team, and so you got to do what you got to do here. Yes, in that capacity, and I think that who knows who will emerge to be keepers out of that. I mean, think about you didn't say 2. You went through what's that 4? Right there. That's a significant number of 20-year-olds that you're counting on to play that have 0 NBA kind of experience. And so there is pain that comes with that, but that's the reality right now of our roster. And so you roll with it and you try to help them perform and help grow them. At times it's not ideal. Elton and I talk all the time about that, and I have tremendous respect and faith in Elton to help us figure this out as stuff emerges with deadlines and all the stuff that we're aware of. And in the meantime, that's life as we have it and see it, and so you do your best to make it work.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.